Good evening from Kentucky. Romans chapter 5, verse 6. For when we were yet without strength. What does that mean? Yet without strength. We were dead in sin and trespasses. You say, well, you try to do good. You try to keep the law. You try to do what's right. Well, trying that's not what God said. In Romans chapter 8, it says in verse number 3, for what the law could not do, in that was weak through the flesh, God sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. Trying is not what God said to do. People say, well, I try to live right. I try to do what's right. Yeah, well, you'll be a good neighbor, or you'll be a good person in society. But when it comes to being righteous in Christ, it's not by the works of the law, because the law is weak in the flesh. But when we were yet without strength, in due time, when the time was right, God sent his Son, born of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law. Galatians chapter 3. For scarcely for a righteous man would one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. You're not even a good man. I'm not even good. There's none good. There's none righteous. But God commended his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That way you don't have to die and go to hell, where you deserve to be, where I deserve to be. You didn't just make mistakes, my friend. You and I sinned against God. And behaving yourself, saying that you promise you'll never do it again, does not take care of that penalty. But God commended his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Much more, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. How is that saved from wrath? Because God poured his wrath on Jesus. God poured his judgment on Jesus. He didn't pour no judgment on you. You weren't even a part of God's plan of salvation. He poured his wrath and anger on Jesus until he was satisfied, Isaiah 53. And it says, for if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his Son, much more being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life. He offered himself that we